Howdy, y'all. Welcome to this week's Grim Grams. Yeah, so, Siege, right? Yeah, that's a thing that happened. Everybody here has seen it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah. 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
alright, we can
4
go
times.
in depth. Yeah, jeez, you guys watched it multiple
Yeet.
times? Okay.
Can we talk about spoilers?
Yeah, we're gonna do spoilers. So, like, this is a warning. We're doing spoilers for the Netflix show that's been out for a week now. Like, I don't know. I thought the show was alright. I think some of the voice acting was a little wonky, especially Omega Supreme.
The voice acting sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Like, I think the main problem, in my opinion, is the dialogue. Because it sounds pretty... It either ranges from pretty good to Combiner Wars-esque. Like, with stilted pauses.
I repressed Combiner Wars. I just don't remember it anymore.
Combiner Wars.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, Obi-Wan.
You don't remember it? Then your mind's doing you a favor.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
like 2016 as a whole, like just like throw that shit out the window.
We don't talk about that time.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. I thought the show was pretty solid and I quite liked it. It's a very different Transformers show from how it feels and to how it looks, and I love it for that. Like, I like the characters I like were Bumblebee. He was definitely a highlight. Like how he's factionless.
Alright, so from what I've seen online is that they had a much more limited budget. They had less models to work with, and they couldn't afford the mainstream voice actors such as Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, which although it can be disappointing for a lot of fans, I found it quite interesting that they did go a different direction with something less mainstream. Sure, it's not as great, but you can still appreciate it. You can still feel it's the character to some degree. And there are some characters in the show that could have gone a little more light and some we could have done without. But there are some that really took the opportunity to shine. Alita 1, we've always known her as basically the female Optimus Prime, but we never seen her doubt him in any way, which I found was a nice character change.
Yeah, I didn't know we were watching a video essay.
Dude, can we just acknowledge that Impactor isn't a mainstream show and he actually has a character?
So is Cog.
Sure.
Yeah, Cog. Freaking Cog.
Yeah.
I forget who the helicopter guy
Hey,
was.
nice cock, bro.
Spinister.
Who was the helicopter? Spinister. Yeah, he has somewhat of a character.
Can I mention Spinister is the freaking voice actor from Locust from Red vs. Blue. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah, for the Red versus Blue people, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there was something wrong with some of the voices. There were some that I actually liked, but many it wasn't. It was just kind of bland or not good. Gary Chalk mentioned that everyone is trying to sound tough, and I can see his point.
Gary Chalk went in and like
He just roasted
Optimus
them.
Primal himself.
As for everything else, I really liked it. The animation, designs, guest dialogue, and even the music is surprisingly a highlight too.
Honestly, some of the voices, I don't have a problem with them for most of them, but some of the voices sound a bit too similar. Like, you'll just have Optimus going, "We have to find the Allspark," and then Sideswipe is just in the back, "Yeah, let's go find him." And I'm like, who's talking?
It's my clone.
I think We Are Not the Decepticons is becoming the new army of combiners.
Really? Damn.
I don't know.
It's getting that hot. I know what they were going for, but it is the line delivery is kind of funny.
Seeing Soundbuster was a surprise.
Yeah, that was an experience. Like, he's actually his own character instead of just Soundwave 2.
I have a problem with the designs, that most of them are based on the toys, and some of them you can see it's alright, but then you see chromia.
It did look eerily like a stop motion, like YouTube fandom.
Just like Cybertron.
Also, Moonracer's in this show, and she gets fucked up, man.
Chromio repaint dies. Some people in that show are just straight up meant to die. Like they were just there to get killed.
Like cock green, cock red, cock yellow.
Yeah, just the cog repaints were done for.
Yeah, the original Cog still survived.
Mark, what did you think of the show?
I thought it was a good interesting take. It's definitely flawed. I think the weakest aspect is the voice acting, but I thought the story and the characters were actually fairly interesting. I feel like if comparing this to previous attempts like the Combiner Wars, Titans Return, this is like a million steps above that. I just rewatched Combiner Wars just to see what it was like, and in Titans Return, it's just like those were so bad you could not tell what was going on in Titans Return at all. And I feel like even though there was some stuff that was like, okay, we've seen this before, I feel like for like new people, like people who aren't into the whole thing, like who don't follow this on like every show, I've seen people who like do not like follow Transformers all that closely, and they really like the show because they haven't seen this type of storytelling. Like we might be used to it from like IDW and shit like that, but this introduces them to a whole new, like there is more to Transformers here, and there's more depth to these robots than just killing machines. Like I remember one person like said like they didn't really know what the whole thing, why were they fighting, and they kind of just like rolled their eyes, and they only just knew the movies and didn't like the movies, but then they saw this and they were really surprised and they really liked how they handle stuff in a mature way. And I think that this show also is mature in the sense that it's not like, I don't think it's overly edgy in any way. I think it handles the topics in a delicate, careful manner. I feel like,
I wouldn't pin this show as being edgy. I just thought like sometimes they made a really dumb decision. I'm like, Optimus, why did you walk into the trap?
Because hope, Helita, hope.
I kind of like that Optimus Prime makes bad decisions, at least as a younger Optimus, because it shows that he doesn't know everything and he's not the big, like all high and mighty guy yet, and he's gonna grow into that over the course of the series, and like there's an arc for him, and I think that that's good. It kind of, there's a little bit of the OG Marvel Optimus, if you ever read those, like the Car Wash of Doom, and like you do see like the dumb decisions he makes. I mean, sometimes it's like going into a trap that's so obvious. It's not as ridiculous as, but it does kind of give me the same tenor as like him blowing himself up due to a video game.
Yeah, I remember. God.
But at the same time, he like that Prime, he also shoulders the weight on the war on his shoulders, and it's almost like he has to believe in only himself at this point, because everyone is doubting him. He has really no one to trust, and this is kind of like, okay, I believe in this plan, I think this is what we need to do, and he's kind of not listening to anyone. And I feel like the arc is going to be like, he's gonna learn that he can't make these decisions on his own. And it's kind of why what I liked with Bumblebee is in the Alpha Trion protocol scene, which was like a great scene. I love the music in that scene when he like first enters and you get this like synthy score. Like Alpha Trion's like be there for him in his lowest moments and his best moments. I feel like they're setting up like, I really like this universe. Definitely flawed. I do think a lot of the background Autobots, like I could identify Prowl's voice, I could identify Hound's voice in a lot of them, but like people like Sideswipe and Cog, and like it was hard to tell them apart because they had a similar sort of like tough guy voice. Yeah. And same for the Decepticons. It's just they all had like a similar voice.
Yeah, they just sound like thugs.
Yeah.
Even Jetfire.
One thing I did like about Jetfire though is that as the series progressed, you did hear his voice go from this like tough guy Decepticon voice to a much more lighter, heroic voice towards the end, or more like G1-ish voice almost. Like it's that very like soft and like, I am here for you. Whereas at the beginning of the series, he starts like, I am the leader of the Seekers. So I thought that was a nice touch as well.
Well, I think that the main problem isn't the voice acting, is how many episodes this has.
Oh yeah, it's too short. Yeah, I thought this was like Endgame. Basically, it was just a 3-hour long like movie where they had to like go and do something to like turn the tables on the bad guys.
No, but for example, Magnus surrendering to Megatron, I think that was too fast. Like,
Yeah.
Joe Prime, we have to accept the deal. No, okay, I surrender, Megatron, I'm all yours.
Speaking of, in a twist that pretty much everybody saw coming from a mile away, the death of Ultra Magnus.
Yeah.
My heart,
No.
it breaks. So sad.
And also, now that the show's out, I can reveal what was on the spoiler box. It was literally just quotes from the show. Like Ultra Magnus just saying, "I surrender to you, Decepticons," and Optimus just saying, "Well, he's fucked."
Yeah, it says that on the box. He's fucked. What a great thing.
The best part is when Optimus says, "Hey guys, Ultra Magnus said that Megatron is looking for the Allspark," and then Sideswipe says, "Are you out of your mind? Are you crazy?"
I think it was a while ago, but apparently, like, somebody put "Make America Great Again" on, like, Jazz's door.
Yeah.
Like, in Cybertronian language. Like, at one point. Like, that was just...
I thought that there should have been like maybe one episode about, one flashback episode at some point, like to see how the war started in Cybertron before the war.
With Alpha Trion, I think.
They didn't have any flashbacks, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I guess they assumed that a lot of the main fans would already know, like, the general type of backstory.
I feel like you can piece together and like what happened if you like, I think
based on what they say.
yeah.
But at least there were rogue bots in the show, so it did show that there is a neutral side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I liked the mercenaries. Like, Cyberverse like showed a lot of the flashbacks. So I think like there is a Transformers show that has like done the flashback thing. So I'm like fine with this show not doing it. So,
Well, I think it would have been like something, because like this is a new universe, so you need to like establish certain things about this universe, so that like going forward you aren't like left with too many questions. I feel like they do an okay job at like giving the pieces that they do, but at the same time I feel like not even a flashback, maybe just like a little bit of an explanation of like what happened.
I'm assuming like Optimus is gonna talk to Alpha Trion at some point, like in the later seasons, and that's where you're gonna get more of it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Bumblebee.
Yeah, I know that the code is something that I think that was very, very rushed. Because we see Alpha Trion with Bumblebee saying, "Oh Bumblebee, you have to help Optimus, whatever it costs." Yeah, but it only says, "Yo guys, here's the Allspark," and he says nothing else, because then the code is deleted and everything is gone.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was worried for a second that what they were doing with that was they were gonna like be like Ultra Magnus's consciousness is now in Bumblebee, so now Bumblebee is Ultra Magnus. And I was like, oh no, but thankfully they didn't do that.
Bumble Magnus.
I wasn't really a big fan about that. I think Bumblebee should have gone to the Autobots by his own choice, not just because the records of Alpha Trion are inside me now for some reason, probably because I'm the most marketable character.
Yeah, just Alpha Trion going like, do it, bitch.
And I do like this Megatron. I do think sometimes his like the voice like is really slow, and I'm like, come on, like talk a little faster. You need some
Get to the
Xanax.
next word, please.
It's like Megatron needs some Xanax or something.
Yeah.
But I do like that they show him. It's almost like he starts down, like he's already started down a path of darkness, but then as the show goes on, you see him go further and further and further. Like at the beginning of the show, he's like, we have to reach their sparks and minds, and I do think he means it in that scene. But then later on, you see him just yell, kill him, kill them. Like, he kind of just becomes a maniac. Yeah, becomes a maniac.
That's the aspect of Megatron I really like in the show. Like, I know we've already said this like 3 times at this point, but he doesn't start off evil. He actually has some humility to him. Like he has some sort of degree of honor, but with the help of like influencing like how the war's going, Ultra Magnus is dead, and Starscream going like, ugh, kill them all. And then that just drives Megatron to just killing everybody.
Yeah, that reminds me of like Starscream. Like that scene where he promotes Starscream is just hilarious because like all the other Decepticons are like, "Don't do it! Like this is a bad idea." And then Megatron's like, "I am promoting you," and they're all like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Such inferiority.
I love that scene. It is like when I just love how like Starscream just is so giddy. The lips are weird at first, but like as the show went on, I kind of like it was like noticeable. But I was like, I kind of go with it now.
Yeah, it's Stockholm syndrome, you know. It's just like you eventually just like accept it.
Also, one of the things I did appreciate was that I feel like for the most part I could tell each location from each other. You know, like I could tell like that's the space bridge. That's where the Ark is. Oh, this is just kind of like a random street on Cybertron. You know, I could tell where every place is.
Mm-hmm.
It might have taken some influence from Prime, like with 3D models with like 2D matte painted backgrounds for some shots.
I thought this was a really cool take on Ratchet. Usually he's just kind of like the grumpy old medic, and here he's kind of old, like, and he's kind of grumpy. Oh, well, he's more cynical. He's more cynical than anything. And I feel like it's different from like anything from like previous Ratchets where I feel like
I think it's like a bit like the animated one.
Yeah,
it's sort of like that. And like he has a very like, you know, he's disgusted by the war, and like he talks about his former solutions. Like I guess he was like a weapons engineer, and then
he was the Ironhide.
And then he was a weapons engineer who like was disgusted with like what he was doing, left and became a medic, and then is just helping people in like a clinic, both Autobots and Decepticons. I didn't like him towards the beginning. I thought it was just like, can you like please listen to him first? And then like he did listen, and I feel like after that I liked Ratchet more because like I like the part where he was talking about how everyone who gets fixed helps everyone else in his clinic. That was a cool touch.
I like that too. By the way, the ending, when I watched it with the music, I had Fall of Cybertron flashbacks.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going for. It's just like hit that video game nostalgia, baby.
You have a Titan, you have a Portal, you have the art, the music. Oof.
It's just that's one of the best. Like that whole arc launching off, or like when the Alita is like go right from that point to the end, it was just like it was just like this is Transformers. It's like this is Transformers. This is what I like to see. You know, that like raw feeling of excitement. You know.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps when I heard the music.
Me too.
Okay, one major criticism I have. In situations where it'd be necessary to transform, they don't. They just run.
Run.
Why? Your whole thing is to transform and drive. Just transform.
Yes, that is.
Some are saying it's because they're low on energon.
It's like that one scene in G1 where they were all of the Decepticons were in shambles and they all looked like hobos.
I think that's a good explanation to cover up the fact that I think it's just a matter of budget.
I'll just say this. I'll give this show a 7 out of 10. But the Japanese dub, that shit's an 8 out of 10, boy.
God damn it. Oh my god.
Subarashi.
I'd give the show a 6.9 out of 10.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
That's what I want. Yeah.
I would give this show like a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10.
I agree with Mark. I give it a almost 8 out of 10.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, considering they had a limited budget, limited models, and not the original voice actors, but still did a decent job, 8 out of 10. Like, for Transformers fans. For non-Transformers fans, they won't be as interested.
I give it a 0.
Of course you do.
Speaking of zeros, 1/0 is undefined, infinite. Let's talk about Halo Infinite.
Alright, fine, I'll include that. Yeah, so there was Xbox showed gameplay of Halo Infinite, and all the textures were not loaded for that demo, so yeah, it's just a fun time.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a fun game.
I thought the gameplay reveal was real sweet. Graphics aside, I really like what I saw.
Yeah.
Gameplay looked really fun, and it felt like Halo again.
Yeah.
The grappling hook looks like a welcome addition. Yeah. Also, the music.
Oh god,
We
the
gotta talk
music.
about the music.
If there's one thing that stayed consistent with Halo, it's great score. Because that shit pierces your soul like a demon.
What
I don't
the
know.
fuck? Okay. Tokyo Ghoul up in here.
As somebody who's like recently been getting back into Halo, like I used to read the books as a kid, and I played Halo 4, and I used to play the Master Chief Collection with a friend, and so like getting back into Halo now, in more and more, one thing that I really like about this new game, like from this the footage, is the relationship between Master Chief and the pilot guy, the one who's like lost in space. I like their dynamic.
I think it's an awesome idea that the Banished are in the game.
Yeah. I'm confused where Atriox is. I don't know who was the new brute? It starts with an E.
E. No.
We'll just call him the E-Man. E-Man, he's trying to be Atriox too.
We'll call him Eddie.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah.
So Eddie the Brute, he's trying to be Atriox too, but he doesn't really convey that much as he did in Halo Wars 2.
Yeah, I think it's just one of the generals. Like, I think Atriox is actually like the big bad guy, but they're just like saving him up for the actual game.
There's also Cortana.
Oh yeah, I think they're just like going like Halo 5 never happened, like we're gonna retcon that ASAP. They're gonna Thor Ragnarok it, they're just gonna fix the Halo 5 thing in the first like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but here's the thing about retconning Halo 5. Like, it gets rid of a lot of bad things, but you also get rid of Chief reunited with Blue Team, which that was an aspect of Halo 5 that
I'm
I
assuming
actually didn't like.
Blue Team's dead. Yeah, just, everybody in Halo 5 is
Chief
dead.
has no family left. Everyone's dead. Linda died for the second time in a row. I'm hoping the Arbiter is somewhere in the game. I swear to God, if they kill him off screen, I'm gonna be really sad about that.
Arbiter's dead too. His helmet is a drum piece for one of the brutes.
No, it just starts off like the Arbiter is dead.
Optimus has left us.
There's this other brute named Hyperius who may or may not kill the Walk.
Yeah.
Good.
By the way, I never watched Halo, never played Halo, so I don't know what are you talking about.
Yeah.
All my lore knowledge comes from every high school friends I used to have. Man,
Yeah.
they all played Halo. Every game they would complain about the issues. Good times.
Seems legit.
I only know that there's a guy called Master Chief and Creator screams, "Ah!" That's it.
Halo 4 is too different. I want something new. Halo 5 sucks.
Halo 4 is different. I want something new.
Can we talk about this menu for the demo?
It's gorgeous.
Pure beauty.
Okay. The menu, hell yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the use of blue and purple. I'm always a fan of that shit.
Isn't the shotgun like automatic in the trailer?
A fully automatic shotgun.
Well, time to conclude the podcast, I guess.
Oh, there is no conclusion for a podcast. It just ends abruptly.